Herbs are among the most popular supplements. There's literally dozens or hundreds of herbs. Some of the more popular ones, ginkgo biloba, ginseng. These are all very popular herbs, and a lot of people like them because of there seems to be a huge body of research showing that they provide beneficial health effects, and a lot of people who are suspicious or wary about taking drugs to control certain, let's say, medical conditions or to prevent disease often turn to natural supplements and herbs with the idea that since they're natural, they're probably a lot safer than drugs. There is a certain amount of truth to that because, as any pharmacologist or person who studies how drugs work or drug mechanisms can tell you, a drug without side effects is a drug that doesn't work. Every drug on the market has the potential to cause some side effects. Where people make the mistake is believing the notion that because something's natural, it has to be safe. Now, there are certain natural substances. Arsenic, for example, is natural, but it's also a poison at certain amounts. Cyanide is found naturally in apple pits and other fruits. And cyanide, of course, is also a deadly poison, but it's natural. So you can't, you make a broad statement that because something is natural, it's necessarily safe. And when it comes to herbs, herbs tend to have a good safety profile, but depending on the dose and how much is used and the particular herb, they could also provide toxic effects. The main problem with herbal supplements is not so much the toxicity, but rather it's the fact that unlike drugs which have a certain standardization process, in other words, the Food and Drug Administration mandates that when you buy a drug, each pill, let's say of a particular drug, has to have the exact same amount of the active ingredient in each pill. It's called standardization. The problem with the herbs, and many studies have shown this, is that there's a lack of standardization. In other words, herbal supplements and food supplements in general are not monitored as closely as actual drugs. So, this allows unscrupulous supplement purveyors and manufacturers to sell underdose supplements, supplements that contain other ingredients that are not on the label, or supplements that actually don't come close to matching the label value, or they can actually contain toxic supplements. I mean, there's been supplements that have been analyzed. They found, for example, a couple of years ago, they found testosterone prohormones in supplements that were used by athletes, including creatine, that caused the athletes when they competed in a drug-tested event. The athletes actually failed because they thought they were taking a natural supplement, creatine. They didn't know that it was tainted with so-called prohormones, and they failed the test for testosterone. That's happened. Now, regarding herbs, herbs are, among all the supplements, herbs are the most problematic when it comes to possible matching label value for potency, and also because of certain problems. In particular, some herbs have been accused of causing liver problems. Now, there was a recent study that was published in a journal called the JAMA Network Open. And this study looked at 6 popular herbs, and they suggested that these herbs can cause liver problems. This study was published in that journal. The researchers were from the University of Michigan, and they said in the article that 15.6 million U.S. adults, or 5% of the population, has taken at least one herbal supplement in the last 30 days that could be damaging to the liver, and that's pretty alarming. Now, before I get to the specific herbs that they said could be what they call hepatotoxic. Hepato refers to liver. Toxic means it's dangerous. Hepatotoxic means dangerous to the liver. And they suggested 6 particular herbs have potentially hepatotoxic effects. But there are things to consider about this particular study. For one, there's different types of medical or scientific studies. The most reliable one is called a what's it called? Placebo-controlled. Uh, what's the rest of it? Placebo-controlled. I can't remember, but the point is that this particular study was an observational study. An observational study is one of the least uh, useful studies because it doesn't show cause and effect at all. It looks at a large group of people to try and find particular problems or whatever among the population. In this particular study, they looked at 9,500 U.S. adults, an average age of 47.5, who participated in a national survey of nutrition called the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, or NHANES. It covered the years 2017 to 2020. The medical data on these study subjects included prescription drug and herbal supplement use. Now, in examining the particular herbs that this group of people mentioned using, 6 of them stood out as being potentially dangerous or hepatotoxic, toxic to the liver. And the herbs that some people had liver problems after using included ashwagandha, black cohosh, Garcinia cambogia, green tea extract, red yeast rice, and turmeric or curcumin. Now, the first thing before I talk about these particular herbs and whether they really do cause liver problems, the first thing to consider is that something like 1% of the 9,500 people surveyed showed showed that that they had liver problems related to the using these particular herbs. I'm just trying to find exact figures here, but anyway, let's look at these herbs and see whether they really are dangerous to the liver. First one is ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is often considered a kind of a cousin to ginseng, even though it's not related to ginseng. It's an anti-stress hormone, anti-anxiety hormone, and also some studies show it can increase testosterone levels in men by an average of 14%. I've done other videos on ashwagandha. I've written about it in my Applied Metabolics publication. I don't want to go into a lot of detail about ashwagandha, but rather I want to discuss whether it's actually liver toxic. How could ashwagandha be liver toxic? In some people that use ashwagandha, they get a condition where the flow of bile through the liver actually tends to be impeded. In other words, they get an inflammation of the liver that impedes the bile flow. It's called cholestasis. The interesting thing is bodybuilders and athletes who use large doses of oral steroids also get a liver inflammation that causes the same medical problem. There's been studies indicating that ashwagandha causes DNA damage, and they think that that's one of the reasons why ashwagandha could possibly cause liver problems, because it would injure liver cells or hepatocytes. However, that study was what they call an in vitro study, where they exposed ashwagandha in huge amounts to isolated liver cells, which never happens in the body. So we could toss that one out. I mean, you'd have to take massive amounts of ashwagandha. Now, why would ashwagandha possibly cause a liver inflammation? Well, it turns out that ashwagandha can actually cause a little bit of a depletion of glutathione, which is one of the main antioxidant enzymes in the body. It's particularly potent in the liver. Among other functions, glutathione helps to neutralize the toxic effects of oral steroids in the liver, And oral steroids actually deplete glutathione, and when they do, that's when you start having liver problems. So, if the main effect of ashwagandha, in other words, the main liver toxic effect of ashwagandha is caused by a relative depletion of glutathione in the liver, it's easily cured by simply taking other supplements known to increase glutathione production. Whey protein contains cysteine residues, which are precursors for glutathione synthesis. But the number one supplement that actually increases glutathione synthesis is N-acetylcysteine. So, if you're worried about ashwagandha having toxic effects on the liver, it wouldn't be a bad idea to also supplement NAC at a dose of about 1,200 milligrams a day, or even better would be to cycle. Don't take ashwagandha all the time. In other words, take it for maybe 2 months, then get off it for another 2 months or 6 weeks, and this will also have a protective effect. And that's a good, by the way, that's a good technique to use with any herbal supplements, because herbal supplements tend to have what they call tachyphylaxis, meaning that with continued use, and this includes most herbal supplements, with continued use, the beneficial effects tend to wear off. So it's a good idea to cycle various herbal supplements. Now, I'll add my own experience. I take ashwagandha. I only take it once a day. I take it at night. I take a dose of about 200 milligrams, and I use it to help me sleep. It also reduces cortisol by about 20%. Cortisol tends to have a sleep interference effect. When you tend to have high cortisol, you tend to wake up a lot while you're sleeping. It interferes with your sleep. And that's why I take ashwagandha. I take it, as I say, I try to cycle it, but sometimes I take it for months at a time. I have regular medical lab tests done. You could tell if there's liver stress occurring by having certain what they call blood tests for liver enzymes. If the liver enzymes are elevated, something is stressing your liver. For example, when bodybuilders use high doses of oral anabolic steroids, if they take a lab test, a blood test, and they do what they call a liver panel, they'll almost always show elevated liver enzymes, and that's caused by the liver inflammation caused by oral steroids. All they got to do is either stop using the oral steroids or cut down the dose, and usually they're okay. So, as I said, I've been using ashwagandha. Right now, I'd say I've been using it for about 9 months straight as a sleep aid. I have had, in that time, about 4 blood tests done. No elevations whatsoever in my liver, no indication of liver problems. The next herb that was indicted in this study is called black cohosh. Black cohosh is kind of a specialized herb that's used mostly by postmenopausal women to control menopausal symptoms such as hot flashes, where it's called a vasospasm. What happens is the blood vessels suddenly open up, and it makes their body feel very hot and stuff. And there's other symptoms associated with menopause that black cohosh has long been suggested to treat. Now, again, this study said that black cohosh could cause liver problems, but when I looked at the research, the liver toxicity in women who've used black cohosh to control postmenopausal symptoms is less than 1%. So it's a very, very rare possibility. The next herb they talked about is called Garcinia cambogia. Years ago, maybe 20, 25, 30 years ago, the most popular fat loss supplement was called Hydroxycut. It was, I'm not going to name the company that sold it because I think they're still around. I'm not going to do any ads for them. But anyway, Hydroxycut was the most, it made millions for this company. It was the most popular fat loss supplement. The active ingredient in hydroxycut was hydroxycitrate, which was derived from the plant called Garcinia cambogia. Now hydroxycut has several other ingredients, including green tea extract. Well, it turns out maybe out of the millions of people that took hydroxycut, a tiny minority wound up having serious liver problems. Some of them had to have a liver transplant. And a lot of researchers in trying to figure out, remember, hydroxycut had several ingredients. So researchers tried to figure out the particular ingredients in hydroxycut that might have caused the liver problems, and they narrowed it down to two substances: Garcinia cambogia, which was the source of hydroxycitrate, and green tea extract. Now, they never really found definitive proof that either one of these particular ingredients was the cause of the liver problems. You see, the problem with these type of studies is they don't really show cause and effect. They came out with a couple of theories of how it can happen, but in any case, the company that produced or sold hydroxycut wound up taking out both ingredients because they had a lot of lawsuits, and the resulting product, let's say the new hydroxycut turned out to be crap, and it never was as popular as the original one, which I guess says in a way that Garcinia and green tea must have been pretty effective, because when they were still incorporated hydroxycut, it was by far the number one fat burner supplement. When they took it out, the supplement became a also ran supplement that I don't even know if it's still around, to tell you the truth. But anyway, green tea extract is a little bit different because some studies have shown that it has potential hepatotoxic effects. Now, why would green tea extract hurt your liver? Well, green tea extract, the most active ingredient in green tea extract are polyphenol compounds, particularly one called EGCG, and there's another one called gallic acid. And these are potent antioxidants. One of green tea's main health benefits is its potent antioxidant action. Now, in some cases, if you take large doses of green tea extract, and I should point out that green tea extract supplements are much more concentrated than actual green tea. For example, the green tea extract that I use, one capsule has the polyphenol content of 4 to 6 cups of actual green tea. Those are small cups, so they're pretty potent. So what does that mean? Is that some people, because of certain genetic changes, are more, let's say, susceptible to having green tea hurt their livers, and they think that the mechanism is that green tea, some people can't handle larger doses of green tea, and it kind of converts into an oxidant rather than an antioxidant, and as an oxidant, green tea can damage certain people's liver. And there's, again, a genetic component. Not everyone who ingests green tea extract pills will have liver problems. In fact, a tiny minority do. And they've found that these people who do experience problems or liver problems with green tea have what they call a polymorphism, which is a slight genetic change that makes their livers a little bit more susceptible to experiencing liver damage or liver problems with green tea. And some of the people who have taken green tea, unfortunately, it's caused severe liver damage, and they've had to, some of them have had to have liver transplants. Now, I've been taking again, this is anecdotal, I'm talking about myself. I've been taking green tea extract for at least I'd say 35 years, I think, at least 35 years. And as I said, I've taken blood tests. I don't take massive amounts of green tea extract. I take 2 capsules a day. Now that's a pretty good amount because again it's very concentrated. The 2 capsules of green tea extract I take a day are equal to about 8 cups of actual green tea. Now the people who live in Asian countries who drink green tea, such as Japan and other countries, have shown tremendous health benefits from drinking actual green tea, including reduced rates of breast and prostate cancer and cardiovascular disease. How much actual green tea, do they drink? They drink 8 to 9 cups a day. So my dose of 2 capsules a day of green tea extract is equal to the actual green tea quantity that has been shown to be health protective, which probably explains why I've never had a problem in my liver related to green tea extract. Now, here's a little tip for you. Studies have shown that if you take green tea extract with food, rather than taking it away from food, that when you take it with food, it completely neutralizes any potential liver problems related to the green tea. On the other hand, taking it with food also cuts it in about half the antioxidant benefits of green tea. So if you're worried about liver problems with green tea, take it with meals. Don't take it isolated with a glass of water. The next supplement indicted in this study as being hepatotoxic was red yeast rice. Red yeast rice is a natural supplement. It has an ingredient called menocolin K. Menocolin K is identical to the original statin drug called lovastatin. And of course, statin drugs are used to treat or prevent cardiovascular disease. They're among the most prescribed drugs in the world. Their effectiveness is a matter of debate among scientific researchers. The ostensible reason to take statins is to lower elevated blood lipids such as cholesterol and low-density lipoprotein, which are thought to help prevent cardiovascular disease. However, in recent years, they found that the true protective effects of statins come not from lowering cholesterol, but rather because they exert an anti-inflammatory effect in blood vessels, which helps prevent atherosclerosis or an increase of plaque formation in arteries, which is a precursor to cardiovascular disease. There are a number of side effects associated with statins, including eye problems and liver problems. So now the problem with now why would people use red yeast rice? Well, red yeast rice contains this menocolin K, which is identical to the lovastatin, which was the original statin drug. It contains a little bit less. Now, the problem with red yeast rice is it could contain a substance called citrulline, if I remember correctly, which could be renal toxic, could be toxic to your kidneys. However, you could check that out if you decide to try red yeast rice as a natural way to lower your blood lipids or get some of the anti-inflammatory effects of statins without having to use statins. I would suggest contacting the company that makes the red yeast rice that you're interested in purchasing, and ask them for an analysis to ensure that the red yeast rice doesn't contain that toxic ingredient that can cause kidney problems. Most of those supplements do not contain it. However, for the pharmaceutical companies that sell statin drugs have spread around rumors for years that red yeast rice is very toxic and should not be used. And it's not standardized. You don't know how much of the active ingredients in each pill. There's a certain amount of truth to that. However, other studies have found that that's not true, that red yeast rice does contain not as much active ingredient as the statin drugs, but enough to help actually control elevated blood lipids. So another problem related to statins is that if you train intensely with resistance exercise, there's a very good chance that statins will cause severe muscle damage, because statin drugs actually interfere with the body's production of coenzyme Q10 in the liver. Red yeast rice can also do that, but because it contains less of the active ingredient, it's much less likely to do that. So red yeast rice is not quite as toxic, and toxic events in people who've used red yeast rice are rare. The last herb mentioned in this study is called turmeric, which has the active ingredient of curcumin. Now, what's interesting about that is that curcumin, there's many studies suggesting that curcumin actually is liver protective rather than liver toxic. The biological effects of curcumin are huge. It's a good natural anti-inflammatory. Again, in rare cases, some people might have some problem with curcumin, as far as causing a little bit of a liver inflammation. If you suspect that, all you got to do is get a blood test. If your liver enzymes are elevated, it's a good idea to get off curcumin, and your liver will go right back. It's not going to cause permanent damage. I also use curcumin. I take 2 capsules a day of a special high absorption form of curcumin. I've been using this one for about maybe 12 years. I use it mainly for its anti-inflammatory effects, but secondarily because if you can get if you use a highly absorbable form of curcumin, it can actually get into the brain, and in the brain, curcumin can actually help remove and prevent the accumulation of toxic proteins that are associated with brain degeneration, such as Alzheimer's disease. That's believe it or not, that's my main reason. Also, some studies show that curcumin helps relieve muscle soreness, which is of interest to bodybuilders. So I think that's about it for these particular herbal supplements. As I said, this is based on an observational study of a couple of thousand people, and the actual number of people that got, let's say, liver problems related to these herbs is something like 1 or 2%. It's very rare, but it is possible. My advice there is just to use common sense. Don't think that if 1 pill is good, 5 or 6 or 10 pills are better, because like anything else, there's a principle called hormesis, which states that a small or moderate amount of anything is good for you, including exercise, but once you go past a certain point, it reverses and becomes toxic. And that's true with any type of herb or even any type of other supplement. So keep that in mind. If you stick to normal, with maybe the suggested doses of these herbs, I strongly doubt that there'll be a problem, and I'll leave it at that. So I discuss herbs regularly in my Applied Metabolics publication. I discuss the truth about them. I discuss all the new studies related to herbs. I discuss how they work and what benefits you can get from them. Besides that, I discuss nutrition, anti-aging research, ergogenic aids, hormone therapy, supplement science, which supplements work, which ones don't, women's health and fitness, effective fat loss methods. All of these topics are discussed in my Applied Metabolics publication at www.appliedmetabolics.com. It averages 30 to 45 pages each month. It's written in plain English, and includes my 65 years of actual experience, training, and studying, which I don't think could be matched by anybody. And also the fact is I've been a published writer for half a century. It's weird to say that, half a century, geez. Anyway, but it's the truth. And I guarantee no matter what your level of education, you'll learn something when you subscribe to Applied Metabolics. So when you subscribe, send me an email and I'll send you an invitation to join my private Applied Metabolic Facebook page, where each day I post new information on nutrition, exercise science, and general health and medicine. I have an email portal on my Applied Metabolics website, which is where current subscribers only could send me short questions about anything they read in Applied Metabolics or anything they're curious about related to health and nutrition. And as an appreciation of their subscription, I'll answer their questions. Of course, this is limited to current subscribers only. So I think that's about it. If you think that these videos, this is my channel. This is my channel. Sounds like a song. Anyway, if you get some benefit, if you think my information here is of benefit, by all means, please subscribe. It's completely free. I post a new video every Tuesday, and please tell others about it. Because I got to tell you, I'm going to make an admission here right now. I get a little frustrated when I see some of these other channels or these other videos where some of these people have a million or more subscribers, and the information they're giving is just sheer crap. It's complete bullshit. I mean, I realize that a lot of people don't have the scientific background to discern nonsense from truth, but still, let me put it this way. If you want the truth without BS or nonsense or someone trying to sell you some supplement or equipment or coffee mugs or t-shirts, if you want just unvarnished, no BS truth, subscribe to Applied Metabolics and subscribe to my channel, and please let others know about it. If you want to have the best friend you'll ever have, go to your local shelter and adopt a dog. By the way, I know regular viewers of my channel, I know you've heard me say this many times in the most recent videos about how I'm just this close to getting a dog, but this time I am. I've already contacted a couple of rescue groups, and I'm in the process of obtaining a dog. The only question now is whether I'm going to adopt a dog or foster a dog. That's the only thing that's, let's say, I'm kind of figuring out at the moment. My first impulse is to adopt or foster an older dog, because older dogs are the dogs that are least desired by most people because of higher vet bills. You know, a lot of people will turn in their old dogs to kill shelters because they don't want to pay vet bills, which is a tragedy. It's horrible to me. So my heart goes out to older dogs. Most of my past dogs have been older dogs, and they're the best dogs of all. So, but I'm not against, adopting a middle-aged dog either. I kind of veer away from puppies. I mean, the advantage of puppies is, of course, you have a longer time with them. But, I don't want to deal with all the stuff that you have to do to train puppies. I'd rather have dogs ready to go. You know what I mean? Ready to go, out the door, ready to go. But if a puppy needs a home and it's in trouble, I will take the puppy. I will also take the puppy. So thanks for listening. Take care, and God bless America.